fish a lot of weedy lakes, and therefore chod fishing plays a huge part in my angling. Most of the time for my leader material I'll be using something really heavy like 45-pound lead core, just to sink everything flush and to get the sink rate that I desire. Some of the time though, I might be on a venue where lead core's not allowed, and I have to look at alternatives. So my next choice would be a lead-free leader, similar to lead core, and it's a braided leader but without the lead. It's not quite as heavy, but it's like the next best thing to lead core as far as I'm concerned. I'll use a 65-pound breaking strain, which is the thickest, to give me a similar sort of diameter that I'd get with my lead core. If braided leaders weren't allowed, then I'd be using something like the fused loop leaders. Now they're made of fluorocarbon, so they've got some weight to them to help get everything down. And if no leaders are allowed at all, then the only alternative is to fish naked chod. Now, one of the most important aspects of chod fishing is to get the sink rate right. It's no good if it sinks too fast, because I'm likely to get everything buried in the weed or buried in the silt. But I also don't want it sinking too slowly, because if it sinks too slow, when it gets to the bottom, it will actually loop up a little bit, like a couple of inches of your leader will loop up, so you'll be fishing your chod much higher than you intend. So the sink rate is really, really important. It wants to be slower than a freebie, but not like a critically balanced bait. Each of these different leader materials have got their own sinking qualities, so when I change to one or other of those, it's going to affect the sink rate of the rig. So what I need to do is counteract the difference by introducing some weight to the rig. And one of the first things I can do to make it sink a little bit more quickly is to decrease the size of the hook bait slightly. I go from a 16mm, for instance, down to a 14. That'll make a big difference in allowing it to sink a little bit quicker. The obvious way to get some extra weight into the setup is to use putty, but there are a couple of drawbacks with that. Firstly, because I use a loop to attach my chod to the swivel just for the extra movement, it tends not to sit so well and impedes that bit of movement. And secondly, if I'm fishing anywhere that's got crayfish, it really isn't an option, because they love the stuff and they just chew it off the rig and leave me with something that's not balanced how I want it. So if I'm not using putty, I need to get a bit creative in order to introduce some more weight to my rig. One of the first things that I'll do is look at the hook size. Mostly I'll use a size 5 when I'm chod fishing, but if I want a little bit more weight, just stepping up to a size 4 increases the amount of metal and makes the whole lot a little bit heavier. Another option is at the opposite end, and similar principle. Size 12 ring swivel that most of us use with our chods can be replaced with a size 8, which is an awful lot bigger and a lot heavier. Another option is your hook bait size. 16mm hook bait, I might drop it down and go for a 14, which decreases the buoyancy, giving you a net gain in weight and helping the setup to sink a lot better. And lastly, I may put something else on the hook link itself to give a little bit more weight to it. Now that something will invariably be some form of tungsten bead, and the tungsten hinge beads are perfect for the job. They've got a hole at the top that's a flat profile and a big bore at the other end, both of which help to keep my loop open and don't squash it down at all, so they don't impede the movement of the swivel. They need to be threaded on to the hook link before I tie the swivel on, and then once it's on, I can just simply slide the bead straight down over my loop to give me full movement of the swivel. They come in 2 different weights, and it's just a case of experimenting with the different ones to see what suits the balance of your rig. So that gives me 4 different variations to adjust the weight of my rig to suit my particular choice of leader material on the day.